Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Mike and as I said, this session is all about Excel formulas and functions, and please put your questions in the Q&A panel as we go through. I will try and leave some time towards the end of the session for Q&A, but feel free to put questions in as we go through and I can answer them if they're appropriate as we go along. Okay, so formulas and functions. It's actually possible to go through your entire life, your entire working life, without using formulas or functions in Excel, because Excel is so versatile. It can be used for many different things. But if you don't, as I always say, if you don't use formulas and functions, if you don't at least have an understanding of them, then you are missing out on a whole big area of Excel. So formulas, that's what we'll start with, are basically a way of doing calculations. Whether you need to calculate loan repayments or generate a profit and loss account or solve maths or engineering problems. In fact, think of any scenario that involves addition, subtraction, division, multiplication of numbers, and that is where formulas come in. Functions are what I call built-in formulas. There's about 400 functions in Excel and they've all been pre-programmed to perform a specific calculation and generate a specific answer. So it's like having, I guess, 400 pre-programmed buttons on a calculator. If anyone still uses a calculator, the only calculator I use actually is on my phone. So these functions, they range from simple functions to calculate the total of a set of numbers or an average of a set of numbers to more powerful functions. You can use functions to calculate dates and times. You can use functions to do some analysis and calculations on text. And we haven't got the time to cover all 400 functions. So what I've done is I've picked out what I think would be the most useful functions to a typical Excel user. So these are the main areas that I plan to cover. We'll start with formulas, entering basic formulas, copying formulas, and we'll look at naming cells and absolute cell references, which may not mean much to you right now, but when we get into it, you'll see the benefits of them. And then we'll look at some of the functions, lookup functions, if functions, date and time functions, and text functions. So let me come out of this and start with basic formulas. And to open up this file called formulas. And I want to start with a simple example, about as simple as you can get, really just to illustrate the point. Working out the repayment on a loan, and for simplicity, there's no interest included. It's literally, I want to buy something at $2,000. I'm going to put a down payment down of 10%, and I need to know how much I then have to pay in terms of the balance. So first of all, how do I work out the down payment? Well, yes, I know I can do it in my head or on my fingers and just type 200 in there because I know that that's 10% of 2,000. But if I change the cost of the item or I changed the down payment, you'll notice that the 200 does not change. The whole idea behind formulas and functions is that as you update the spreadsheet, it will update the result of the formula. So rather than typing 200 in there, I'm going to put a formula that will work out 10% of 2,000. Actually, it's going to be X% of the cost of the item, where X is the percentage. So I will start by typing an equal sign into the cell where I want the answer to go. You always start a formula with an equal sign. I then have to know in my head what the formula will be. And I know that to work out 10% to 2,000 or X% of Y, if you want to make it a little bit more flexible, then you multiply one by the other. So we put B1 multiplied by, and that's the asterisk symbol, B2. You'll notice it's highlighting the cells as I select them, and then you press enter. And it comes up with the 200. So you can see the answer to the calculation or the formula in the cell, and you can see the formula itself in the formula bar, which is this white strip above the column letters.